Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox. The Xbox Series and One consoles have many games carried over from the 360 and the Xbox Live Arcade. Today I want to talk to you about some that I recommend. I only picked 5 for brevity, but let me know what you would put on this list in the comments, and it might show up in another video. All footage today was captured from an Xbox Series X, and I want to thank my YouTube channel members for their support. But let's go ahead and hop into this list. First up is Radiant Silvergun. This was a Japanese arcade and Saturn game that came out in 1998, and in 2011, it got a worldwide release for the Xbox Live Arcade. It's available now for $15. It was developed by Treasure and was published to the 360 by Microsoft Game Studios. And this is a classic shoot-'em-up, and I remember people praising this on YouTube and forums as one of the best in the genre. When it was announced that it would be easily accessible, I remember being excited to play this one finally. Now that I've played it, it is hard as nails, but is an extremely fun shmup and well worth your time. What I love about this game is that it's easy to pick up and understand, but its difficulty lies more with its skill. It's a classic shoot-'em-up where you control a ship, dodge bullets, and enemies flying at you. You shoot at them to destroy them, but instead of leveling up your weapon. Instead of picking power-ups to level up your weapons, you get your entire moveset from the start. When you hit different buttons on your controller, your bullets will be sent in various ways. There's a homing shot, a side shot, a shot that goes behind you, and even a sword you can use for up-close combat. These levels are extreme with tons of tight areas requiring the use of all types of weapons. It leads to fast and hectic combat that is insane. If you're anything like me, you are not incredible at games like this, but you enjoy them anyway. But here, the difficulty is done right. It can be rewarding, and it gets better and better the more and more you play. I love that there's a weird score system tied to it as well, where you shoot enemies of the same color and you get multipliers to your score, which helps level up each weapon as you use them. Treasure somehow mixed many complex ideas and made this game simple enough for you to just pick up and understand. It also has a neat story mode with some anime cutscenes to make this feel slightly more than an arcade title. And I love this version of the game because it keeps the original charm of the Sega Saturn style graphics. Your ship and all of the enemies have that early 3D polygon style that is evocative of the Saturn, and it's lovely. The backgrounds also flow and move and pop with color, making this a dazzling experience as you race through this game. This is matched with excellent music. The main theme of the first level is one of my favorite songs, and it's always on my video game music playlists. It's bombastic and catchy. Radiant Silvergun is an excellent shoot-'em-up. It's addictive, simple, and altogether a grand experience. I'm really happy this one has stayed preserved past the Xbox 360 and is backwards compatible, and it's super easy to play today, and it deserves more people checking it out. Next is Lumines Live, which was released in 2006. It was developed by Q Entertainment and published by Microsoft Game Studios. It is available digitally for $10. I'm not sure if I've had the chance to talk about my love for the Lumines series since so many of the games are on the PlayStation, but it is one of my favorite series of all time. Lumines Electronic Symphony is my favorite puzzle game of all time. I think this series is incredible, and the arcade version here brings that greatness to the 360 and now your Series X. Lumines is a music puzzle game you run through going from song to song with different time signatures as indicated by the bar passing the screen. You have a block of 4 that you can shift around, and your goal is to get large matches by making squares of the same color on the board. This combo of gameplay makes this experience almost transcendental. An hour in this game passes extremely fast, especially when you get in the flow of the music and the matching blocks. The gameplay is fast, addictive, and trance-like. It has a simplicity and power that every puzzle game needs, but it's more than just the gameplay that keeps this one fresh on replays. Lumines Live has an eclectic mix of electronic tracks that are perfect for fans of the many different subgenres of electronic music. You can choose from catchy techno tracks to fast breakbeats to jazzy songs. I never get sick of it because there is some legendary stuff here, and some of the music here is from the original games. It's a soundtrack that I love so much that I had to grab the limited run vinyl that they released. All of the songs evoke a feeling and mood, and it changes the puzzle style as well. Each new song, when it swaps, will change the look of the background and the blocks. It gives every level something distinct to match with the slower or faster beats. It makes it more challenging too. There's something about certain looks that make it feel more hectic. I'm always impressed by how much they pull out of something so simple. They even include a mission mode which asks you to make different shapes, a time mode where you have to clear blocks as fast as possible, and a CPU battle mode where you fight over different sides of the board. A fun mode that unfortunately is hidden behind DLC, so I do love this game, but a good amount of content is locked behind DLC, which is a bit sad. Yet, I do think the base game here is still a great time, and it has that great core Lumines mode. On the Xbox, I would say spring for the remaster first, since that one is also available on the one in the series consoles and is the definitive version of this game, but once you're done with that, this game is still an excellent rendition and it's a blast. Next is Gripshift, published by Platform Publishing and developed by Sidhe. This was originally a PSP game and later saw a port to the PS3 and Xbox Live Arcade in 2007. This is available digitally for $10. This is a game I owned on PSP, and when I heard it was coming to the Xbox Live Arcade, I jumped on it. This may seem a little odd since I hardly hear anything good about this game, and it got a really mixed reception. But I've always really enjoyed Gripshift. It's a mix of two things I enjoy, racing games and Super Monkey Ball. It's a combo that I think is effective here. In this game, you control a driver on different tracks and islands. Each level usually involves you just reaching the end of the track in your car, but the obstacles along the way make each one different. Sometimes it's as simple as boosting from one end of the track to the other, but other times you might have heavy magnets that pull you off the track. Checkpoints might be situated on odd areas of the map, so you have to figure out the fastest path. There's also a ton of collectibles too, and you get completion points for getting good times and finding all of these, which gives you new skins for your car and new levels. There's actually a ton to unlock here, and I love unlockables. It's a fun way to chip away at a game, and it works well with this arcadey style. The controls are arcadey and you move fast and loose. It's a feeling very similar to kart racers, so you will be zipping and jumping all across these areas. My favorite collectibles are the tokens that have you experimenting with going off-road and taking leaps of faith to get. Personally, I derive a lot of fun out of Monkey Ball with getting shortcuts, and that's here too. I love just taking the right turn and launching yourself off the road and completely cheesing the top gold time. Launching yourself off at just the right angle to skip a ton of track is rewarding, and it makes you feel like you're breaking the game, but in the most fun way possible. These moments make this a great and fast arcade experience. The look, I wouldn't say is very special and the music is by the book, but that doesn't matter as much when the core game mechanics are this fun. It even includes an extra racing mode if you want something like that. Though it's not super impressive, it's still a fun way to kill some time and get some simple races in. I do think Gripshift gets unfair treatment and it is a great time. It's simple, but the core concept is addicting. I love seeing all the different challenges the developers have thrown at you, and they're highly creative. I've sunk a ton of time into this one, and I think it's worth seeking out.
Go, man, go! That was classic.
The next game is Perfect Dark. This is a remaster of the 2000 rare classic Perfect Dark that came out on the Nintendo 64. This version was developed by 4J Studios and published by Microsoft Game Studios. This is available for $10 standalone, but also comes packed in with Rare Replay, which I would recommend getting. The original Perfect Dark was and still is one of my favorite games of all time. It takes GoldenEye and creates a brand new story around it, allowing itself to take on a more sci-fi direction and add a lot more humor in. It's a great playing first-person shooter at the time, and came in before the next generation of shooters that would take over objective-based shooters like this one. This is a remastered version of the game, but as far as gameplay goes, it holds up exactly the same. The look is updated here with higher resolution textures and new character models. I think all of them are welcome changes. Besides the character models, everything is still blocky, but is a lot cleaner. I love the look of PS1 and Nintendo 64 era games. There's something about the simplicity of the graphics and how it attempts to capture so much with that's endearing, and the sci-fi look matches it perfectly here. In this game, you play as Joanna Dark and uncover the hidden secrets of the evil corporation Datadyne. All the places the game takes you are silly and entertaining, and it's fun the whole way. I always love the setup of the difficulty where on the easiest mode, it's a simple run through the level. But as you move up, you gain more and more objectives. These become complex and ask you to use all of the gadgets at your disposal and dig into the nooks and crannies of the levels. These levels are surprisingly detailed and are a blast to explore and figure out the core concepts of each one. It's exploratory and does not hold your hand, which I enjoy. The shooter gameplay is good too, and it plays just like GoldenEye with its shooting and lock-on style. If you love these games, you'll feel right at home, and for newer players, it might take some getting used to, but once you get into it, it has a flow that makes learning and speedrunning levels a blast. Speedrunning is actually a core part of this remake, with this game featuring completion times that allow you to get into the leaderboards worldwide. I've fought for some great times here, and it's addicting. You also get a bot mode on top of all of this, allowing you to play multiplayer with bots, and there's some fun maps and game modes, and it supports Xbox Live as well. I like the achievements for this game too, with a lot of little challenges to complete in-game, like weird stuff like breaking a bunch of bottles. It really asks you to explore the game, and I like that. Perfect Dark is just a classic first-person shooter, and it's the epitome of this style of shooter in my eyes. It has some insanely creative levels, and its plot is like a great sci-fi B-movie. It's fun, and it is my go-to version of this game if I'm ever in the mood to play it. It's easily accessible on the Xbox and well worth going back to and replaying, or it's good for anybody interested in this piece of history. The final game we are discussing today is another one of my all-time favorites, Peggle. It was developed and published by PopCap and initially released in 2007, but made its way over to Xbox Live Arcade in 2009. This is available for $5 digitally. When this came out on the Xbox Live Arcade, I was addicted to this one, and this game is a testament to simplicity sometimes being the best way to make a game. As you can tell from most of my selections today, what I like out of an Xbox Live Arcade game is something simple and easy to pick up. Peggle is exactly that. It works for those moments between your giant games, and you can just pick up and play it. In this game, you have a launcher at the top of the board, and you launch it down onto your pegs. You want to hit the orange pegs to complete the round and move on. Yet you can get higher scores if you hit all the pegs. With more peg hits, you get free balls to launch, and it keeps your game going on longer. There's also a little cup at the bottom that if you land it in, you get free balls as well. At first, this game can seem like luck, where you shoot the ball randomly and hope to win. But with a longer play, you realize that there's more strategy there, where you may need to hit a peg specifically to stay in the game, lining it up so it lands directly in the cup. Or you need more score, so you do special moves like bouncing off the wall. It helps that you have a selection of characters with special moves to keep you in the game. You get things like a multi-ball, a set of lobster claws at the bottom that work like pinball flippers, and there's a pyramid that makes it easier to get in the cup, and as you go along, these moves get more and more creative. And that's it. But there's something about how you move through the gameplay, and it gives you that feeling of, I can just go for one more try. If you fail, it's easy to say, I can just do it better. This ease of play combined with some skill is a blast. Of course, the randomness helps too, where you might get a sick series of hits you weren't expecting, and it's very rewarding. PopCap always knew how to build something simple, but entertaining, that would keep you hooked for hours, and this does this. And I love the simple style here. Here it goes for something cutesy and charming. It's something that could easily run on a web browser. And I don't mean that as a negative. It harkens back to the days of tiny PC puzzle games that filled in those extra hours of the day. Mix it with charming music, and Peggle has this feeling all its own, and it's all the way charming. I do love the sequel's feeling too, but it doesn't have anything on the simplistic look captured here. Every time I bring up this game, I get flooded with great multiplayer memories too. It's surprisingly well done and has a fun rule set all its own. I can't get enough of Peggle to this day, and I always get a craving at least once a year to play it, and I play a ton of it. It's addictive and has hours of fun. I highly recommend this one. But that wraps it up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments or by liking, because that really helps me out in the algorithm. Let me know what I should cover next. Subscribe to keep up with the retro Xbox content. And I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your support. You really help out the channel. And I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.